We are starting in just a moment here. All right. Welcome back, everybody, to PSGL. We are here for the 8th round of the Season 31 Championship, and this is the PlayStation F5 Championship. It's good to be back commentating, especially here at the Interlagos circuit. So let's just quickly get the graphics up out on our screen here. There we go. We are good to go. And we're just waiting for a few drivers to come out on track. I think we see an Alfa Romeo now coming out on track. But let's talk about this circuit. So, we're here at the Autódromo José Carlos Pache for the Interlagos circuit. This is the Brazilian Grand Prix Round 8 of the Season 31 Championship, and this is also the F5 division, so the 5th division on the PlayStation leagues. And we are here, of course, at this famous circuit. It is incredible. It's Interlagos, of course, and it is a classic one, so we cannot wait to get the racing underway for the F5 division. This circuit's got 15 turns to make up a circuit length of around 4 kilometers. There's also 2 DRS zones to help encourage overtaking for around here, and overtaking is going to be very common. We're going to see it down into turn 1, as we're going to have a nice DRS stretch down to that first turn. But, of course, if you can't make the overtake into the first couple of corners, there's also a second DRS straight down to Destino do Lago at turn 4. So I think we're about to see Smalley go out for his lap, so we'll take it on board with the Alfa Romeo in just a moment. But I'm Formula Jonah, your commentator for the F5 division, and I'll be taking you through the entire race as we start a lap with the Alfa Romeo of Smalley down to turn 1 for the Interlagos circuit and into the Senna S. Is a very difficult turn, a very difficult set of turns actually. You want to make sure you hit that curb right on the left, but don't hit it too much, of course, as you can get an invalidation or spin the car. Down into Destino do Lago, turn 4, braking between the 50 and 100 meter board as we go right on the right side of the curb there into a very narrow part of the track. So up the hill into turn 6 and turn 7, you want to go in between 5th and 6th gear and into a heavy braking zone. Turn 8, shifting down into around 3rd or 2nd gear. Into turn 9, a very big traction zone as well, as you want to slowly come onto the power off of that turn. This is where Alex Albon and Lewis Hamilton had contact back, and I do believe it was 2019. Thankfully, the racing continued on, and there was no serious implications. Down to turn 12 now, final braking zone, as the drivers will be accelerating through the gears up to around 8 into turn 14, 14, 15, flat out through here as we come to the line with the Alfa Romeo. Smalley sets a 1:08.1, so that is the benchmark lap time for everybody to beat. And Lars goes faster by around 0.5 of a second, and the Haas driver goes into the 107s. Van den Berg now goes into the 107s, a 107.7, a 10th off of Lars's lap time, as we're going to see a few more quicker lap times as the track is going to keep heating up. Now, this is a big thing I want to mention, as an update just recently happened to the Formula 1 game, and as you can see, there's a bit of a difference on that scarlet red Ferrari, and that is the Maranello yellow. I do believe it's actually Modena yellow. As we can see at the back of the rear wing, just showing the Italian special livery that was at the Italian Grand Prix earlier this week, I do believe. And we're going to be seeing it on the new F1 game as well, so that's great as well. As we see the update coming in, I think another big change was the Chinese Grand Prix is in, as we see a Red Bull off the track. Is that, it's not Luca, I think that would be Marquico in the Red Bull. Thankfully, the Red Bull gets back out on track as Catterson sets the fastest lap so far, so I'm riding on board with the Mercedes for some reason, but there we go, there's the Williams. As Catterson has a 107.612. Lars around a 100th of a second down off of Catterson's lap. But we've seen pretty much half of the grid go out on track. Slash needs to go out again. I don't think that was a competitive lap time from the AlphaTauri driver, and I think we can definitely see a faster lap from Slash there. So let's quickly see if we can get an onboard with the AlphaTauri. I wonder if he messed up on his previous lap and is now coming into the pit lane, or he's setting an even quicker lap time. Let's see, as he comes around the final couple of corners that are flat out. 13, 14, and 15, as I said, are all flat out. He's continuing on, so there should be a better lap time for the AlphaTauri. Can he join his teammate on the front row? No, he cannot. He is only P7. So not in the top 5 for Slash, but it is going to be P7 for the time being. But he still has a lot of time to go out on track, and that goes for everybody. We still have around 12 minutes and 30 seconds to go in this session, so still a lot of time to improve on their current lap times. So as I mentioned, we are 8 rounds into this championship. 3 more rounds to go after this one. Saudi Arabia is up next, and then we head to the USA for the Austin race, and then we're heading to Silverstone to round off the Season 31 championship. So 4 more rounds, including this one, and it's going to be an epic showdown towards the end of the season. Of course, the championship is coming down to the wire. It's going to be absolutely incredible. I cannot wait to see what happens. I hope you viewers are excited for the final 4 rounds of the season here in PSGL as we get ready for an exciting race here in Brazil that could have implications on the championship standings as well. Now, I do want to mention that our sponsors for this season are Grid Rival and GT Omega. GT Omega being the title sponsor, and you can use the code PSGL at checkout on the GT Omega website for 5% off on GT Omega products. That's all in the description. Definitely go check that out. It's very good content, so please, definitely go check that out. Down in the description, down below of this video and all the videos. Alrighty, so we have a few drivers out on track. Half of them are pretty much in the pit lane. The other are out on track. Now, this is kind of the spot where we see a lot of drivers coming into the pit lane, getting ready for their final few attempts. They're reviewing the data, putting on new tires, and maybe making a quick change to the setup. Of course, Parc Fermé rules are on, but you can change just little tweaks on your setup if you feel you need to. But I'm sure a lot of these drivers won't be, because they have, I'm sure, been practicing on time trial for this exciting race. And I'm sure that they have everything prepared for the upcoming Grand Prix and for the remaining minutes of qualifying. So Catterson's lap still is the fastest time, a 107.612. That is the fastest lap so far. Lars and Vandenberg, the top three, have stayed the same for the last couple of minutes. So it's been a pretty good session for those three. Rudy in the top four, looking pretty strong with a 107.7. And he's just 1/100th off of Vandenberg, who's in contention for that championship as well. And in a moment, I will go over the championship standings. But first off, I do want to mention, thank you so much for everybody to join. It's really great to have you all here in the live stream or watching the replay as well. If you are watching the live stream, definitely comment down below your predictions, your questions, and I will try and respond to those if I get the opportunity to do so. Also, please hit the like button as well and subscribe to PSGL. This really helps out myself and all of PSGL. So thank you. Alrighty, let's go over the standings for the F5 division because, of course, it is very, very tight at the front. Meanwhile, we actually have Slimbo going fastest overall in the Ferrari. So Ferrari putting it up into the top three and putting that Modena yellow / the normal red Ferrari up into the top five. All right, so let's go back to those standings real quickly. I did miss the race in Imola, so we weren't able to capture that on stream, but that's quite all right. We still have the racing here today in Brazil. But right now, in the championship fight, the top two are separated by 0 points. They're actually tied for the championship right now with 45 points. That's Victor and Vandenberg. So we'll be looking to see whoever finishes higher in this race, either Vandenberg or Victor. Meanwhile, Luca goes fastest overall with a 107.6. Going back to what I was saying, though, whoever finishes higher, either Vandenberg or Victor, will lead the championship heading out of Brazil and coming into Jeddah. So we'll see how this all works out. Of course, Victor and Vandenberg looking like the two favorites for the championship. However, it is very close between the rest of the drivers out on track as well. Smalley, Catterson, Troppi Formula. Actually, Troppi Formula is a little bit farther down. He's leading away pretty much the midfield. So it's really between the top four, which is Victor, Vandenberg, Smalley, and Catterson. Those are the top four drivers, and thankfully for us, they're all here today. Every single driver that I've just mentioned are here today. Catterson leads away the four drivers in that championship fight with currently a 107.6. And if you look at the top four, they are separated by just a few 100ths of a second. Absolutely incredible. 4 100ths of a second to be exact. So showing that the pace is incredibly strong and super intense between these four drivers, and what could be more as well, as we can see a few more drivers go into that battle zone as well. So we'll see how that works out. So currently Vandenberg has a 107.739, currently 6th position on the grid, now 7th because Rick has just improved to go into 5th place. So the top 5 for the McLaren team. Unfortunately, his teammate has retired from the session, but I did hear a little bit earlier on that Backy does have a back of the grid penalty. Not exactly sure why, but we know that he is starting at the back of the grid, so that's why he is not qualifying on track today. He will be starting 18th. However, his teammate is in the top 5 and looking to set the pace for McLaren. Hopefully the race goes good for Backy as well, as hopefully he'll be able to go up into a points position come the race. And also, Troppi Formula needs a better lap time. Currently P15, and he needs a good lap time because, like I mentioned, he's leading basically that midfield fight. So if he's going to look to maintain his lead of the midfield and stay in P5 in the championship, he needs a good lap today so he can be able to get some good points in the upcoming race. And speaking of Troppi Formula, we're going to ride on board with the Williams driver, as he's going to get some nice slipstream from the Ferrari behind. However, could this impede his lap? I don't know exactly. This is going to help him right now, but let's find out. So down to turn 1, let's see how this goes for him. Very nice line into the second turn. Oh, and he does invalidate. Now, is that because of dirty air or just understeer on the car? Either way, he hasn't validated that time, which means that Troppi Formula will not be able to improve on that particular lap. So, not good news for the Williams driver. Meanwhile, I missed it out on track, but Rudy has gone fastest overall by 2/10, and now Smalley goes even faster. He goes even faster than Rudy, sets at 107.390, and the Alfa Romeo puts it up into P1. Very good lap time from the championship contender. Smalley, of course, in that championship fight, currently sitting third in this championship. So this lap right here really just shows that Smalley is seriously in contention for this championship, even though he is a few points behind Victor and Vandenberg. Now here's the question. With 5 minutes to go, the track can still warm up even more. Times can still improve. So will Smalley's lap time continue to be the fastest lap time come the end of this qualifying session? I don't know the answer, honestly. It very well could be. But at the same time, it could very well not be the fastest time because there's so many drivers that can improve on their times. Luca looking pretty quick in the Red Bull. Let's see what he can do. I think he's actually improving on his time. He is around 8/100ths of a second up, which I don't think will improve on his position. It should improve on his time, though, and safely put him ahead of Catterson. Actually, he's coming into the pit lane, so he's decided to bail on that lap, put a fresh new set of soft compound tires on, and go out for one last lap of this session. So is there anyone else on a lap? The two AlphaTauris are out on track, but I don't think they are improving. What about Victor? Victor, championship leader. And Vandenberg tied on points with Victor in the championship, so they're basically leading the championship together. But I do believe Victor leads the way because he has the most wins. I think that's how that works. And the question will be, does he come into the pit lane, put a new set of soft compound tires on, or does he stay out? I'm not exactly sure. Unfortunately, we cannot see what the degradation is for the Aston Martin softs, but let's see. We'll know exactly what it's going to be. He is going out for another lap, so this might be Victor's final lap, unless he has the time to go out for one last lap after this one. Let's see, though, as the championship leader comes through turn 2, a little bit wide into the exit of 2, but he's riding that curve very nicely, using a little slipstream maybe from the Ferrari. No, he's not. He's just going to stick to the line, and he's actually down by around 1/10 of a second, so he's going to come into Decina Lago. Will these two drivers impede Victor's lap, though? Let's find out. He does have some time if he wants to bail on this one and go out for another one. He's going a little bit wide. You can see him not really hitting those apexes. And I wonder if that is just because of the two cars ahead. He gets a little bit of oversteer on the exit of turn 9. Into 10 we come. His teammate hopefully won't affect Victor's lap time. Oh, and Victor loses the car there, showing that it is very difficult to keep control of the car, especially at that particular turn. But that is severely going to hurt Victor's lap here, because now he has spun at the worst time, because those tires are going to be so hot, and he's going to have a hard time controlling that car. I think he's coming into the pit lane. Yes, he is. Will he have enough time to go out again? He's rushing through to try and get into the pit lane, set a new compounded tires, and go out for one final attempt. We'll see how that goes with the Aston Martin driver. We'll catch back up with him in a moment, but I want to keep an eye on the drivers currently on laps. Luca into Sector 1 we come for the Red Bull. And I think Catterson and Rudy are on laps as well. Rudy's up by around 2/100ths of a second. Catterson, it says he's up by around 1/10, but he hasn't hit the Sector 1 flag, so I don't believe that is correct. Luca up by around 4/100ths of a second, so not some significant improvements from second or fourth. Catterson, I want to find out what he can do. I couldn't really see. But the top three all going for it as Rudy is going to exit turn 11 through the Sector 2 line, and he's up by around 6/100ths of a second. It's not going to be a huge improvement for Rudy unless he's able to have some ridiculous straight line speed on the straight. I think he's backed off. He has backed off, so... Oh, wait, no, he's not, actually. It looked like he backed off for a moment. He's going to actually go faster, and he does go faster. Rudy is going faster than Smalley, and he improved. It wasn't look like it was going to be a significant improvement, but by the end of Sector 3, he absolutely obliterated the competition and goes fastest overall by around 3/100ths of a second. What a lap from the Alpine driver, but it's not over, as we still have a few more drivers crossing the line. Catterson is pit. Luca has retired. Lars is improving by around 7/100ths of a second. He is coming to the line now for the Haas team. To the line, currently P5 goes third with a 107.4. Good lap from the Haas. What about Vandenberg? What about Vandenberg? And what about Victor? No, he is actually, he's retired from the session, so he will be starting P10 at best. Vandenberg to the line. And he is down on his time, but he will have another opportunity to go out again. So will that be the improvement that he needs? We will find out. So who's next to come across the line? I do believe it is going to be one of the AlphaTauris. I think Slash is coming to the line now. Let's see what he can do. And he comes to the line, goes fourth. Good lap from Slash there, a 107.4. And if he was able to improve by around a 10th or so, I think he might have been on pole. I mean, of course he did improve, but if he was to go into the 107.2s, he would have been on pole position. But he is going to be starting P4, and that is a really good position for this upcoming race. Vandenberg is a 10th up on his lap. He is a 10th up on his lap. Currently, that should put him 6th or so. But let's find out. He's now 2/10ths up on his lap. Riding on board with the, he's second in the championship, but currently level on points with Victor in this World Championship. Can he improve on his time? Yes, he does. He joins his teammate in the top 5, and that is exactly the lap that Vandenberg needed to continue to get up there, as Victor, his championship rival, starts 11th, and Vandenberg will start P5. A very good position for his championship hopes. So it is going to be Rudy on pole position for the Brazilian Grand Prix. The lap time was a 107.362, and Alpine take pole here at Interlagos. So that's the end of the qualifying for the race here at Interlagos. Rudy will start on pole position for the Brazilian Grand Prix, followed by Smalley, our championship contender, in P2. This is great for his championship hopes as he lines up alongside Rudy on the front row of the grid. Lars is P3 with Slash, the first of the AlphaTauris, to go into P4. Vandenberg is P5 with Catterson in P6. Look at the top 6 in this race. They are separated by around 1/10 of a second. That is how close this division is. It is absolutely incredible. Rick starts 7th with Luca, the German driver for Red Bull, starting P8 with a 107.6. Slimbo and Bas Bremer complete the top 10. Alpine both in the top 10. But I think the best performance by a team as a whole in qualifying was AlphaTauri. Both drivers in the top 5. Very impressive laps from the pair of them. And let's see if they can keep those positions in the race. So here we go for the Brazilian Grand Prix. It's a cloudy day here in Sao Paulo. And just a quick reminder, no formation lap, as the drivers will go straight into the race. I do believe that is because of a bug. Hopefully that gets fixed in the future, but right now there is no formation lap to avoid that bug. But anyway, hope you all are ready for this one. We have the clock ticking down from around 20 seconds for the start of this Brazilian Grand Prix. This is the F5 Divisions Round 8 of the Season 31 Championship. And thank you so much for joining us. Let's have a good race, and I hope these drivers are ready for what should be an exciting race here in Interlagos. So here are the lights as we prepare for this one, and we are racing here in Brazil. It is lights out, and away we go. It is a great start for the front runner. Smalley gets a pretty good start. Is he going to challenge Rudy down to turn one? Yes, he is, and he takes the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix, and there's contact. Rudy is spun around. The pole position spinner is down the order there. As we have the 3-1 moment, there's an AlphaTauri spin around. That is Slash. Down the order there, Catterson off the track as well, as there is cars off the track. Slash and Rudy down the order, Luca in the back as well. A chaotic start to this Brazilian Grand Prix, but it is Smalley that leads us away. Our pole position sitter in this race is down the orders. Oh my goodness, that was a chaotic start. Slimbo has got wing damage. And that was not the start I'm sure that some of these drivers would have wanted. It was a dream start for Smalley, a dream start for Vandenberg as he's up to second position. Victor up to 7th. So the two actually all three of the championship contenders are in a great spot in this race. Bas Bremer is up to 5th. Great start for him. And Vince up to 6th as well. I think they avoided that contact that happened at the start of this race. Not a good start for Catterson. However, his teammate, Trappy Formula, is moved up to P11 from towards the back of the grid. Catterson's got wing damage, and he is plummeting down the order. We also have Mentos in the pit lane as well. Rudy, Slimbo, Luca, maybe Slash all coming into the pit lane. No, it is only 3. So Slash and Luca stay out on track. Same with Rudy. And they have to recover from this one. Let's get tires out on our screen as well, as most drivers are on the hards. Let's see Trappy Formula getting past Marquico, making his way through the field. Marquico in the Red Bull, looking to get into the top 10 as his teammate Luca down the order, and he's one of the only drivers on the mediums that's in this race as well. I think Slimbo, Luca, and our race leader Smalley are the only drivers on the medium compound tire. But what a start for Smalley. He's got around a 2.5 second gap to Vandenberg, as Vandenberg currently with these points will take the lead of the championship. Lars, though, pressurizing that AlphaTauri driver as he comes out of turn 12. Can he make that overtake? They are all on hard compound tires, so this could be a very exciting championship fight right here for these drivers. And I do believe we have an overtake going on. It's Trappy Formula once again making another overtake on the Aston Martin of Julio down the inside. No, he's actually going to back out of that one. He is not going to make that overtake on the Aston Martin for the time being. He's going to try and get the better slipstream. Out of turn 2, into 3 we come, and he's using the slipstream, using that DRS. Does he have enough speed to power past the Aston Martin? He's looking for the overtake. He's going down the inside, and he has got the overtake. Trappy Formula up into 9th position. Julio's actually gone off the track now, so the Aston Martin moves down the order. And he's actually going to lose a little bit of time to the car that's just overtaken him as well. And Marquico in the Red Bull is now looking to make that overtake on the Aston Martin as well. We also have Backy from the back of the grid. He's making his way through the field, so this is looking good for McLaren in this race. And I want to go back to the battle for P2. Look how close Lars is to Vandenberg. Let's quickly get telemetry out on our screen right here. As we see, he's got a lot of ERS to spend. DRS has now been enabled as well. This should be a pretty easy overtake for the Haas as he goes side by side over. We're going to see a 3-wide moment. The McLaren goes to the inside line as he's trying to make the overtake on Vandenberg, our championship leader. Oh, and Lars makes a little bit of a mistake. Vandenberg now retakes 2nd position. This is an intense fight. We also have the Alpine of Bas Bremer trying to get in the action and go for the podium. Also Vince in this fight as well. Rick is challenging the Haas of Lars down to turn 4. Decino Lago, he's going to stay in 4th position though. It is Lars that stays in 3rd, but it is Vandenberg that maintained his pace into turn 1. Lars got past but made a bit of a mistake, and Vandenberg kept it consistent and kept it going through into turn 2. So it went well for the AlphaTauri driver who leads us away, or leads this pack away. For another lap. Smalley now has a 4.8, now almost 5 second gap to the cars behind. Impressive from the Alfa Romeo driver. Now, we do have to remember he is on the faster compound tires. Everybody else in this train of cars here is on the hard compound tires, and they're going to be losing. I'd say that the hards are, I'd say, around 4 to 5 tenths slower than the mediums, as we see Lars making a move on Vandenberg as the Haas makes the overtake officially and gets ahead. And will he continue to stay ahead? Yes, he will. Vandenberg does have DRS, and he does have ERS as well, so will he power past that Haas? No, he is too far behind to make that overtake on the American team there, as Vandenberg will stay into P3. As we see an overtake going on for 10th position, I do believe that is Backy and the Aston Martin of Julio, as we see the McLaren getting up into the top 10, and both McLarens now into the top 10 positions. As I said, McLaren having a really good race so far, and hopefully it all goes well for them, as Marquico is out of the Grand Prix. Was that in the pit lane, or was that at the first corner? I do believe it's at the first corner, as the AI would probably find a marshal's post to pull off to, so I do believe that it was an accidental crash for the Red Bull driver. Oh, we see Aston off the track. That is Julio going very wide there, and he's actually going to lose the position to Luca as well in the second Red Bull, who's now the lone Red Bull in this race, unfortunately. And he's on the mediums trying to make his way through the field. And as I said before, the mediums right now are around 4 to 5 tenths faster than the hards. Later down the line, the hards will become a faster tire and the mediums will degrade. I'll get into that a little bit later. I don't want to bore you guys with all the tire strategy information. But anyway, I want to go back to the front of the field here, as that battle for second position is looking very, very spicy right now. We have Vandenberg 4 tenths behind Lars. Lars has started to pull away just that bit from Vandenberg. However, they are still they're still within DRS range of each other, so not much change. It just Lars has now a bigger opportunity to stay ahead because he's got that 5 tenths gap. As actually Vandenberg makes a little bit of a mistake there, and Rick is going to be on the back of the AlphaTauri, further helping Lars's race and his potential second position in this Grand Prix. And hopefully for Lars, he's able to pull that gap and get out of the DRS range and start chasing after Smalley in the Alfa Romeo. However, Vandenberg has used the DRS. He hasn't used much ERS, so this might be the opportunity for him to try and get past Lars. I think he's using this more as a closing zone to try and get closer to Lars and then go for the attack on the next lap. Sometimes it's easier for drivers to cool down those tires, use the DRS as a closing zones just to stay within the gap to the Haas or a car ahead. In this case, it's the Haas. As Vandenberg now got it between 4 tenths of a second, so he's gained time from that DRS stretch, which is great for him. He's got to be wary of Rick, though, as Rick is 3 tenths behind these two drivers. We're going to ride on board with the McLaren team as we see Rick coming through turn 11, around the same gap to Vandenberg as Vandenberg has to Rick. As we see, that's Sandvudia in the Ferrari off the track. And he's going to exit in P12. Ooh, going a little bit wide. Julio should get ahead. And yes, the Aston Martin does get ahead of the Ferrari there. And will Sandvudio come into the pit lane? We will find out in a moment or so. It doesn't look like it. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. He's actually making the overtake on Julio and Slash as well. But going back to the front, we can see the McLaren getting closer and closer to that AlphaTauri. The gap's still about the same as it was 3 laps ago, so not much change at the top. Besides Smalley pulling off another second off of Lars, and this battling for second position is helping out Smalley immensely. He's able to not push as hard as he should, because usually when you're in the lead of the race, you're pushing really hard to stay ahead because you don't have the slipstream. You really don't have the slipstream, and that's a problem for the leader of the Grand Prix. However, since he has that gap to the cars behind, he's able to relax a little bit and cool down those tires, make sure those mediums last for a ways so he can pit onto maybe a soft compound tire. Tire strategy is pretty chill for around here, and the tire degradation isn't really that bad. It's one of the more easier tracks for degradation. You can kind of last the tires for as long as you really want. As we see, Rick probably is the closest he's gotten to Vandenberg. He just doesn't have enough speed to get past that AlphaTauri. It's a DRS train right here. You cannot make the overtake with the assisted DRS. If you're the third car in this train, you're going to have to make that overtake into a corner of some sort. Like, for instance, turn 8, which is coming up now. So that's going to be probably Rick's best overtaking opportunity, or turn 12, or he can get a better exit out of turn 2. That's another option as well. And he does get very close to that AlphaTauri. He's not going to make that overtake for now. He's going to wait just a little bit longer. And we'll see if he's going to make that overtake onto turn 4. Depends on his exit out of the Senna S. We'll see how that works out for Rick. Riding on board with the AlphaTauri of Vandenberg, 4/10 behind, using the DRS, not using much DRS, keep an eye on the McLaren right behind as well. No change for P2 right now. But this is helping out Victor, Vince, and Trappy Formula, who's moving up the order. Same with Backy as well. We actually have a train of cars right here that haven't had the best of qualifying results or had some contact at the start, making their way through the field. That's Trappy Formula, Backy, Rudy, and Luca, all in this this close fight and coming back through the field to try and get up into those positions that they may have been in qualifying, or may have been if there wasn't any contact. And Trappy Formula is in a great position to try and overtake Vince as well. Vince has a pretty good gap to Victor, so he doesn't have a lot of slipstream. However, Trappy doesn't have a lot of ERS, so that's going to impact his overtaking power, and you can clearly see it on the straight. He just doesn't have enough speed on the main straight. Oh, there's an overtake going on. Rudy making the move on Backy. Down the inside goes the Alpine, and up into 9th position now. Luca trying to get past the McLaren of Backy as well. We'll see. He's got the medium compound tires. And we'll see DRS enabled. Backy also has DRS. No change for P9 though. Nothing happening right now for the 9th position. Now we also got to be careful of this tire strategy as well. These drivers have to remind themselves that these tires won't go forever. I'm particularly looking at Smalley and Luca. Oh, as we see Vince moving down the order. A spin for the Mercedes. As that is Vince down the order. Down to, I do believe, 12. He's going to slot just in between Slash and Sanvudia. And he's going to end up in P12. But yeah, as I was saying, Luca and Smalley on the medium compound tires, they're going to need to pit at some stage as well. So that's going to affect their race as well. But look at Rick. Look at Rick, the McLaren driver, looking for the overtake on the AlphaTauri. He's going to send it to the inside. No, he's going around the outside. The McLaren trying to make that overtake. I don't think he's going to do it, though. But look how close he is to Vandenberg, using a bit of ERS. Vandenberg's also doing the same, though. So it looked to be an overtake for Rick, but it didn't happen as we see Vince off the track. And I think, oh, Sanvudia's out. That is a crash for the Ferrari. Is that a VSC or a full course safety car? Nothing's been called out right now, but I'm not sure. So I wonder if Rick has been kind of not using up his tires as much as Vandenberg, because Vandenberg's right behind Lars, and maybe he's been using up those tires to try and get past Lars, where Rick knows that he can't really make that overtake on the top two since he's in that DRS train, and maybe while he's sitting right behind, he's just kind of saving those tires, and now he's starting to pressurize that AlphaTauri, as it seems. Oh, we have Trappy Formula off the track. It was going also well for the Williams, as he is down the order and down to P11 now. It has not been the day that Williams would have wanted. Williams have always had some great races this season, but it looks to be a very difficult race for the British team, as today they are not in the top 10. Neither of them are, as Catterson in P14 will have to pit very soon onto another set of compound tires because he is on the softs, and eventually those tires will start to die out. And Trappy Formula in P11 after the spin. Thankfully, he hasn't lost too many positions. I think he's lost like 3, maybe 4. So hopefully he's able to come back. You know, he's able to come back after that spin. We'll see. Hopefully it all goes well for Williams and they can turn this around. So going up to the top of the field once again. Not much change happening. Rick still is in a really good position to make that overtake on Vandenberg. I think that's our closest battle. Or it's Luca on Rudy. Actually, it is Luca on Rudy. The Red Bull looking for the overtake on the Alpine. Rudy giving the position to Luca, it looks like, as he is pulling to the outside line. Luca pulling to the inside, covers off the Alpine, and gets ahead. So Luca up into 7th position now. Rudy into P8. Backy in 9th as well. So the top 3 in this fight for 7th are all looking pretty strong. However, they're a few seconds behind the rest of the pack, so that's not going to help their race. Ooh. Lars, I think, made a little mistake there. Is that going to be Vandenberg's opportunity to make the move on the Haas? I don't know. It doesn't look like it, but let's see. Turn 12 is where it all matters. The final braking, so the final exit of acceleration. He's actually gained a little bit of time, but isn't enough. Meanwhile, Luca is off the track. Luca in the Red Bull. Coming back out on track. He's going to exit in 12th position. It has really not been a great day for Red Bull, as well as we see Rick making the overtake on Vandenberg. And he's done it! Rick has finally got the position, and he's up into P3, so is this his opportunity to make the move on Lars? Vandenberg could not get past Lars. Is Rick going to be the one that overtakes the Haas? Let's find out. He finally gets that overtake done, and now he's going to have that opportunity to make the move on Lars. And look how much time he's gaining. 3/10 now to the Haas. Right ahead, we see an Aston spinning around there. I do believe that is Giulio. We'll catch back up with the Aston in a moment. I want to keep an eye on this battle, though, for 2nd position, because this could be critical for their race. Rick is in a good position to make that overtake on Lars. The question is, does he have enough ERS? Does Lars have enough ERS, too? They're actually on similar ERS percentage-wise. Vandenberg has 63, so he's in a good position. It doesn't look like he's using a lot of ERS, but you can see he's got a lot of straight line speed as well. I wonder if he's running a lower downforce setup compared to the top 2. I'm not exactly sure about that one, though. Rick has got the DRS off of Lars using the slipstream, but he cannot make the overtake. Not enough room to send it, not enough room to make that overtake. He's gonna have to wait another lap or so. Now, I wonder when some of these drivers are coming into the pits. We do have Giulio into the pit lane, but I do believe that was because of the spin. Maybe he got damaged because of that. Seems to be the case. Oh, Mentos off the track. Doesn't look like any damage for the Haas, but could be wrong there. Smalley, 6.1 seconds. I think he's starting to lose a little bit of time to Lars. I think he is. Those mediums are going to start degrading just a little bit. Lars' tires are going to be faster. And Smalley does come into the pit lane as we're talking about strategy. And the Alpha is coming into the pits. He will thankfully slow the car down in time so he doesn't get a penalty. And he should exit in around P9 or P10. I think it's going to be P10 for the Alfa Romeo. But let's find out. Into the pits for the hard compound tire. So our race leader is into the pits, and he should exit in P10, it looks like. Maybe P9. Here comes Trappy Formula. And the Williams should get ahead of the Alfa Romeo. And as predicted, Smalley will get out in P10 of this race. But he is going to be on fresh, new hard compound tires. So this is going to be good news for Smalley. He's trying to get temperature in those tires. Of course, hards are very cold as all tires are, but particularly hards are the worst in terms of the temperature because they are the hardest compound tire, and they don't warm up as quick. So, yeah, Smalley will have to warm with those tires, give it a lap or so, and then he should be able to overtake Trappy and the rest of the cars in the top 9. So Lars takes the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix. Rick still has that 5/10 gap from the Haas. Vandenberg in 3rd now, as Lars is into the pit lane. And that is an interesting move from Lars. So Rick will take the lead of this Brazilian Grand Prix. And this is good news for Vandenberg as well, who will have the perfect opportunity to take the lead at Decino Lago. Let's see how this exit will be for the AlphaTauri driver. It wasn't a really good exit compared to Rick, so he's going to stay in 2nd for the time being. But this is interesting. We're coming into the strategy point of this race. Lars exits on the medium compound tires, and he will exit around... I don't want to see the inside of the Haas garage right now. There we go. Lars will exit around 6 seconds to... or 5 seconds to Smalley. So he's gained a little bit of time actually on the Alfa Romeo. This actually could be a change in the lead of the race. Hear me out here, because Lars has now gained a little bit of time. He also has the medium compound tire, so he's going to be the faster of the 2 drivers here. So are we going to see a fight between Smalley and Lars for this race victory? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe we will. And what about the top 3 as well? We have Rick into the pit lane. Let's see where Rick comes. And also Victor, championship leader, into the pits. Victor's rival in the championship is Vandenberg. He is staying out. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Vandenberg and Bas Bremer and some other drivers could also go for the softs instead of the mediums. If they stretch this out to the softs, this could be pretty good for them. However, it's going to be really hard from this point to that period if they pit for the soft compound tires, because the softs, or from that stage, they're going to be losing so much time to the drivers who just pit, such as Rick and Lars and Smalley. So, we'll see. We'll see how this works out. Now, if I were Rick, I would put all the pressure on Lars right now, because once Vandenberg and Bas Bremer come into the pit lane, the DRS train might come into play once again. So I think Rick has got to make sure that he makes that overtake on Lars as soon as possible before he gets stuck in that DRS train. Hopefully he doesn't, because he's got the undercut on Vandenberg and Bas Bremer, but we'll see. Lars has now set the fastest lap of the race, showing that those mediums are really coming into play. Trappy Formula, meanwhile, pits for the mediums as well. So a lot of drivers into the pits on the medium compound tires. Definitely a good strategy. I think it might be the best, in my opinion. However, softs could work as well. I have a feeling that Vandenberg and Bas Bremer, maybe even Backy, could go for that strategy. And there we see the Haas just in the distance. Lars is gaining time there. I don't see him currently right now, but he is there. 4.4 seconds, 4.2 seconds. He is gaining a lot of time on Smalley here, and this is great news for Lars and Rick as well. Lars is actually pulling Rick along, so this isn't good for Lars or Smalley, because Rick is now a huge contender for this race victory as well. If Lars is pulling on Rick, he might be able to just conserve those tires just a little bit more, and then once he gets in range, make that overtake. As Vandenberg is into the pit lane for, I think, a medium tire. Yes, it is. It is a medium tire swap for the AlphaTauri driver. Backy from the back of the grid comes into the pits for a medium tire swap as well. And what is going on with the ghosted McLaren crew there? There was some ghosted McLaren crew. Not exactly sure what that was all about, but we see Backy exiting the pit lane. Vince also comes into the pits on those 20-lap-old hard compound tires. And speaking of 20-lap-old hards, Bas Bremer has to pit at some point as well. Now, will the Alpine stay out for the sauce if he does do that, he's probably going to stay out to around lap 24 or lap 25. I would take the softs around 12 laps. I would give it like 12 laps. You can take the softs around 15 laps for a round here, 14 laps, but you're really pushing it. And the softs are not really the greatest tire for any track in terms of longevity, but we'll see. We'll see. As Bass Bremer's into the pit lane, and this should be a medium tire. So the last of the front runners comes into the pits. So no bold strategies for the softs, and honestly, I understand that. It's a bit of a risk, and you'd have to stay out for a much longer time, and also you're going to lose a lot of time to your rivals. So this is the best strategy for Bass and for the others as well. Rick might have the opportunity to make the move on Lars as well. DRS enabled, 210 separating second and third position. Let's see. Ooh, he's just too far back. He cannot make the overtake on Lars. He gets so close, though. He gets so close. And he sets the fastest sector in Sector 1. So Rick is absolutely flying out on track right now. Meanwhile, the gap between Lars and Smalley has been decreased to around 3.2 seconds. So the gap is coming there down. There is the Alfa Romeo. As you can see it just in the distance. We'll run on board with Lars so we can see Smalley. There is the Alpha. It's coming into view now. And now the gap is 3.2. It is closing. It is closing even more. 3.1 it's about to be. But look at Rick. Using that DRS, this might be his best opportunity to make the move on Lars. To the inside. He goes for it. And McLaren takes the overtake. Rick is up into P2 of the Brazilian Grand Prix. Lars is down to third. And what an overtake from Rick. That moves him up into second position. Will he defend against Lars, though? Lars has got the DRS and the ERS. He cannot make that overtake. Rick takes the second position away from Lars. And again, this is going to help out Smalley, because if these two are fighting, they're going to lose time to the Alfa Romeo, and that is going to help out Smalley to continue to lead this race. But let's see. Let's see now. Rick has got the gap down to 3.1 seconds now. He's gaining a little bit of time. Mentos has retired from the session. That was in the pit lane, though, so no crash. And that doesn't mean any safety car or VSC either. So no change in that. So our lap 23 out of 36. I hope you all have enjoyed the race so far. It's been a very intense and exciting race here in PSGL F5, as we still are witnessing some awesome overtakes and a very close, intense fight for the race lead. Speaking of that, Lars is around 0.2 of a second behind Ricky. Might be able to make that overtake down to turn 4 to Sino Lago. However, Rick has got a really good exit, and he should keep ahead of the McLaren for the time being. Oh, the Haas, move out of the way! Oh my goodness, that was close. Rick and Lars thankfully avoided. Will anyone else get caught up? It doesn't look like it. That is just down to the AI not retiring. But wow, oh, that was close. That was close. Could that have ended the McLaren or the Haas's race, or any of the drivers that came into view of that that Haas? It doesn't look like that. And by the way, that was not a driver controlling that car. That was an AI, as Mentos did retire the car in the pit lane. So that was just the AI being weird and not retiring sooner. So the gap now is 2.6 seconds. There is the Alpha. And there... Oh. Where is the screen? There it is. Okay. I wanted to see if we can get the McLaren as well. That would have been pretty cool to commentate over, but unfortunately, we didn't get that. But yeah, you can see now, there is Smalley, there is Rick, and there is Lars. There's also the other cars coming into view as well. 2.5 seconds, around the same gap between third and fourth position as it is from first and second position. So, looking pretty good, honestly. Now, we do have to keep an eye on tires as well, because Smalley is on the hards. The mediums are going to be faster, but once Rick overtakes Smalley, the tires are not going to be as fast as Smalley's. Smalley's are going to be faster than Rick. I'd say around lap 11 on the hard compound tires. So that would be around lap 29 or so. Lap 29 or lap 30. We're going to see Smalley being the faster driver, I'd say. But right now, Rick and Lars are 1.9 seconds is the gap. There is the Alpha. It is getting closer every single corner. As Rick pulling off the moves, he doesn't have to worry so much about Lars, who is right behind him, but doesn't have enough time to make that overtake on the McLaren. Rick is just so confident through the S's and through the corners on this track. I'd say he's got a pretty good setup, honestly. And actually, Smalley's gained a little bit of time on Rick. 2 seconds now is the gap. And any other moves going on? I think there is an overtake going on for 9th right now. We have Trappy Formula and the AlphaTauri of Slash. I want to get back on board. Trappy's got no ERS though. What about Slash? Does he have ERS? About the same actually. Backy's got 39, so McLaren looking really strong actually with their ERS deployment. Backy in for a top 8 position as we see Slash and Trappy Formula side by side. Slash going for the switchback maneuver, trying to get the better exit out of turn 10 using the slipstream from the Williams. It doesn't look like there's going to be any overtake on this particular lap, but the DRS is coming up, so Slash should have a great opportunity to make that move on Trappy Formula. Question is, will he do it? Here he comes, DRS enabled using the slipstream from the Williams to pull to the inside line. And Slash has done it. Up into 9th position goes Slash. He takes the 9th position off of Trappy Formula. But will the Williams get back past? Let's see. ERS deployed. DRS deployed. He's pulling to the inside line. Here comes the Williams. And he's got it. Trappy Formula is up into 9th position. He retakes the 9th position off of Slash. And I can't believe that this isn't a fight for the race leaders. This is very entertaining. As we see these two drivers swapping positions, they will continue to do this, but I want to keep an eye on that battle for first. Look how much time Rick has gained on both his competitors. He's gained almost a second on Lars, actually, and is now broken from DRS range off of the Haas, and now has gotten within DRS range to Smalley. This is the battle for the race lead on lap 28. We begin, as this is the fight for the race win here in Brazil. And this is going to be absolutely epic here today in F5. Strap yourselves in, viewers. We're in for an incredible battle between these 3, maybe even 4 talented drivers out on the grid. And when I say 4, I actually mean 5, because Victor is in this battle as well. The championship contenders are almost going side by side. They're around 6/10 between themselves. So Vandenberg and Victor, like I said previously, whoever finishes ahead will take the lead of this championship. Vandenberg in 4th, Victor in 5th. Currently Vandenberg will take the lead. But let's see how this works out for the 2 drivers. And there is Rick. He's got the DRS. He's now within 0.5 of a second to Smalley. He's using that power. Is this going to be a lap? Is lap 29 the lap that Rick makes the overtake? Let's find out. He's got much more grip than Smalley. You can see him exiting turn 3 now. Looking really strong. DRS is enabled. And I think Rick is just going to keep this going. I don't think he's going to take a risky overtake. I think he's just going to be very chill with this. He doesn't want to take any risks. If he's going for this race win, it's going to have to be a very smart overtake, because I'm sure Smalley wants this as well, and he's going to try and defend that one. But right now, it seems Rick is the faster of the 2 drivers right now, and that might just be down to the medium compound tires being the faster tire at this stage in this race. Let's see, though, 0.3 separating Smalley and Rick. This has been every single lap we have talked about this. And now it has come down to lap 29. Will Rick make the overtake on lap 29? Will it be lap 30? He's using ERS. He's got a lot of it to spare. I think this is going to be a DRS enabled for Rick. He's using the slipstream. He's pulling to the inside, maybe outside. Smalley defends. Rick's gonna go for it on Smalley. As they go side by side, Rick pulls around the outside of the Alfa Romeo and takes the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix on lap 30. Wow, absolutely epic stuff from Rick. He's also got the gap to Smalley. There's nothing the Alfa Romeo can do. Rick takes the lead on lap 30 of this Brazilian Grand Prix. Absolutely phenomenal. He was in the battle for what was 4th position at the start of this race, and now is taking the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix with an epic showdown to this one. Look at the gap he's already gotten. 1.4 seconds to Smalley in the Alfa Romeo. Will Smalley's tires come into a better tire towards the end of this? I don't know. It doesn't look like it, so I think this could be Rick's win. But let's find out. And also, Lars is starting to chase after Smalley. It was going also well for the Alfa Romeo as well, but he's down into 2nd position now. Lars now chasing after the Alfa, and Smalley might be down to 3rd. This is not good for his championship hopes. He needs to grab the most points he can, as he's got the 2 championship contenders, Vandenberg and Victor, right behind as well. The top 5 all separated by around, I'd say, 2 or so seconds. Excluding Rick, because Rick has got a 1.7 second gap to Smalley now. So I just want to make that clear. But what a race here in Brazil. We're on lap 31 out of 36. It has been absolutely epic to watch. We had a lot of overtakes, a lot of intense battles. We've had some crashes. What's very surprising as well is we haven't had any safety cars or VSC, so that's quite interesting. We've also lost 3 drivers from this race. We've lost Marquico, Sanvudia, and Mentos as well. All 3 are out of this race. Ferrari did not have a good one. Sanvudia in the elimination zone, as he's actually in P17 with a DNF to his name for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Slimbo in the Ferrari is last on the grid right now, so it's not looking good for Ferrari so far. Williams haven't really had the best of race either. Catterson P12, Trophy Formula in P9, so it hasn't been their race today, as we see an epic overview of the beautiful Alfa Romeo livery, as Smalley trying to hold off Lars. We see the beautiful Interlagos circuit here in Sao Paulo. I've never noticed that lake, actually. I didn't know it was right there. It's quite nice, though. So we're on lap 32 out of 36. I hope you all have enjoyed this one so far. Leave a comment on who you think is going to win the race. Looking likely that it's going to be Rick. But of course, here in PSGL and here in any leagues, anything can change. That goes for racing as well, as a lot of stuff can happen. As we see a yellow flag, I do believe that is Giulio, possibly. I do believe that is the Aston Martin driver off at turn 3. But I didn't see him lose too much time, so I'm not exactly sure on that one. Also, Vandenberg has closed the gap on Lars, so it's now a 4-way fight for 2nd position right now, and another DRS train. However, can Vandenberg get ahead of Lars? Maybe get into 3rd position and challenge Smalley? This is good for his championship hopes, because he's got his championship rivals all around him. Victor in P5, Smalley in 2nd, and Catterson down in 12th position. And right now, this will not help his championship hopes, as he's going to move down the order, and he's going to have to get, like, he's going to need, like, a race win, maybe even 2, if he's going to be winning this championship, because right now he's going to drop down the order, unfortunately. But we'll see. We'll see how this goes. Anything can happen. We still have 3 more rounds to go after this one, as we could have anything happen. Of course, Saudi Arabia is next. That's a very intense Grand Prix. Anything can happen in that one. Walls are something that is all over the place. It is a very difficult circuit to master. And I'd say it's kind of the complete opposite to Brazil in terms of the track configuration. But yeah, that one's going to be quite interesting. And then, of course, we have the races in Austin and in Northamptonshire. I do believe that's where Silverstone's at. So that's going to be awesome as well. And both those tracks are somewhat similar, I'd say. I'd definitely say that Maggots and Beckett's at Silverstone and the S section at Coda for the first part of the lap is very similar. I think it was actually styled by the Silverstone circuit. So Lars, 6/10 behind Smalley. Can he make that overtake in the last 3 laps? Of course, it's a very short lap for around here at Brazil, so he doesn't have a lot of time to make the overtake on Smalley. But what's great for Lars is that he does have a lot of overtaking opportunities. And for Rick, he's just got to keep this consistent, keep a big enough gap to Smalley. I think Smalley's tires are getting better at this stage than the medium compound runners, so he's in a better position right now. But the hard part for Smalley is that he does have a DRS train of cars right behind him. So we'll see if he's able to hold off Lars Vandenberg and Victor. Actually, Vandenberg looking for the overtake on Lars. He's got to have to send it like Carlos Sainz. Back in 2019, he's going around the outside of the Haas car. He's actually going to pull out. There's not a lot of space to make that overtake on Lars. He's going to have to wait another lap. And this is the penultimate lap of this Brazilian Grand Prix. So he only has 3 DRS zones to go. And this is one of them. And he will not be making an overtake. So if... and actually, Vandenberg's got a penalty as well. I just realized that. Let's take a look. That's a 5-second time penalty. Will that get removed? I don't know. But as of right now, Victor will maintain his championship lead just because of that penalty. Even if Vandenberg finishes ahead. He will have that penalty, which will set him back a few positions. So 6/10 still separating second and third position. I wonder if Victor is going to want to overtake Vandenberg and then try and get ahead of Lars, possibly get into the top 3, which would be great for him in this race. We'll see. Also, the Alpine's running a pretty strong race after what was looking like a very difficult start to the Grand Prix. Didn't go quite well with Rudy, the pole sitter, having contact with some other driver. I wasn't exactly sure who, but he's in P7 now. A good recovery for him. Backy, P8, great recovery for McLaren. And Trappy Formula, after that spin, is going to score some... he's going to... I think he's going to take P9 in this race. No penalties for the Williams, and Slash will be P10. So on to the final lap of this Brazilian Grand Prix. Rick starts this one. It's all going well for McLaren, but I don't want to jinx anything as the 94 McLaren comes around. Turn 8 now, into 9. Smalley gets a 3-second. Oh, that's big. Lars is going to get promoted to 2nd, and Victor will get promoted to 3rd. So Smalley will move down the order. That is big news for him in this race, and that has really, really affected his podium hopes. As we see Rick coming around the final couple of corners, it has been his day today. He has had a perfect race. It really has been a charge from the McLaren driver. He was in the battle for 4th. He was hoping for the podium, and he's definitely going to be on the podium today. And he's going to take the top spot of the podium. Rick wins the Brazilian Grand Prix and is the winner here in Interlagos. Lars will take 2nd position for Haas, and the championship leader will extend his championship lead and take 3rd. Vandenberg will finish 6th, and it will be not the greatest day for Vandenberg in terms of the finishing position, as he's going to finish down in P6 with his championship rival in 3rd. So he's going to have to come back stronger in Saudi Arabia. So we're just waiting for the final few drivers to come across the line. Rick is your winner of the Brazilian Grand Prix. What a race. Absolutely phenomenal from everybody today. The top 3 really showed some pace. Smalley really controlled that one, but that penalty at the end took him off of the podium positions, which is unfortunate for him. But this is your race winner. McLaren win here in Brazil, as Rick takes another win. PSGL, oh, is actually driver of the day is Trappy Formula. So he gets up into P9. He'll take driver of the day as well. So great news for him. But Rick is a race winner here in PSGL as he takes the win. As the podium celebrations commence, we have our top 3 celebrating. Rick is your winner as he lifts the trophy for McLaren. Lars is P2, a great race from him as well. Some great defending for pretty much the entire first portion of that race. And Victor makes it up on the podium as well. Great news for him in his championship hopes. But that's the race here in Brazil. We move on to Saudi Arabia, which will be the 9th round of the championship and will be one of the 3 that will end off the season. Of course, Saudi Arabia is up next, then it's USA, and then Britain. But what a race here in Sao Paulo. Rick is on top. Thank you so much for joining us here today at PSGL. It's been an amazing race. A lot of Dutch drivers in the top 6, as we see Rick and Lars in P1 and P2, Bas Bremer and Vandenberg in P5 and P6. So good news for the Dutch drivers, Victor and Smalley, P3 and P4. And Backy from 18th to 8th. Great recovery for him. Trappy Formula also gets the fastest lap as well, and driver of the day, as the game gave that to him. A 109.5 was the fastest lap for the Williams, as he had that spin. A great recovery from that, and he grabbed P9 at the end of the day. So absolutely phenomenal from everybody today. Thank you so much for joining us. I think that's going to end us off here today from the Brazilian Grand Prix here in PSGL. That was round 8 of the championship here in the PlayStation F5 division. I've been Formula Jonah, your commentator, and join us next week for round 9 in Saudi Arabia. It will be the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix at the Jeddah Street Circuit. So join us then for what will be the third to last round of the season, actually. And then, of course, like I mentioned previously, we'll be heading to USA and Britain to round off the championship here in F5 for Season 31. So as I said, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.